Hey.
Yep.
I'm here. The tattoo. Wrestle with getting the paperwork signed out.
Hope the audio's not picking up stuff. On audio, OBS, because Dan's over here running the theme song right now.
Oh boy.
And welcome to Radio Mythoverse for June 11th, 2019. You just heard the Mythoverse theme from Talis. The digital download of that track was made available to the backers on our recently funded Kickstarter campaign. So if you back that at certain tiers, you will receive a copy of that song in your inbox along with the rest of the digital rewards. Zalin has done a lot of work for a lot of different independent creators, including the Rags team, so he is quite the prolific composer. I'll put a link to his channel, which is called Comic Book Music, in the description. So, good evening, folks. I'm Dan. With me tonight are the two other lead creators of the Mythoverse, Brett and Matt. What's up, guys?
Hey, once I actually made it. For once, I made it on time, and hey, Star's in this chat too.
Yeah, Star is always welcome. Had a lot of fun chatting with her last time, so anytime she wants to hop into the voice chat, she's more than welcome.
Well, don't make it just be me doing it by myself.
Well, everyone in the Discord is welcome. I guess they're all just shy. They all should know that it's there. I went ahead and announced it in the Discord. I tweeted it out. I even put it on the Facebook page, and so anyone that knows anything about us should be aware that we're live and on the air here, Radio Mythoverse.
Yeah. All right. But yeah.
What was that, Brett?
I just want to address a couple details from last week because I listened to the last week's feed.
Okay.
Well, first off, Dan was right that the Godzilla series didn't really take off until Godzilla vs. King Kong. However, Dan neglected something.
What did I neglect? I never make mistakes, so I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
King Kong vs. Godzilla was the highest grossing film in the series up until Shin Godzilla came on.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
that's fantastic. Now I know. That is excellent. Yeah, Brett is definitely much more of a Godzilla aficionado than myself. I do enjoy the character, and I have watched a lot of the films, but if you want to know the trivia, Brett's your man. So.
All right.
Yeah. So.
I've been watching these since I was 9.
What's that?
I've been watching these since I was 9.
Yeah, on and off too. I watched Godzilla Battle Monster Zero when it was on 8mm film with no sound on a home projector, so we had to make our own little sound effects.
Oh wow! Now we're talking serious talk.
Yeah.
Ghidorah. Also, it looks like your brother's in the chat, and Gorgonite Emissary.
Hey. Yeah, that is my brother. Hey, man. And hey, Gorgonite Emissary. If you guys are there, could you please thumbs the video up if you could, please? Thank you very much. I be much obliged for you. So, good news, everyone. We have officially received our funds from the Kickstarter today. So I will be dispersing the funds to Matt and Brett so that they can get it off to their teams. And that means we're off to the races. We start showing off some real progress on these 3 books. Super excited about that. How about you guys?
Oh, yes, definitely. That's our rate going.
Yeah, no kidding. I cannot wait to see progress on these books, especially from Leandro, obviously, because I'm biased towards that book. But I'm really thrilled to see what Ginger and Victor and Bethy come up with. and I think you all better buckle in. You're in for a very, very fun ride. So let's get it all started off today here. Let me quickly just go over here and put up a nice little slideshow of some Mythoverse artwork while we talk. So, first thing I want to talk about is E3. Did anything cool happen in E3 that you guys care to talk about?
I'm just happy they got Tommy Wiseau to finally play Black Widow.
I was going to talk about the Avengers game. I honestly think they look like my coworkers. They look like a bunch of engineers. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, can I say something? I'm sorry. I really have feelings about this. Okay. We have Square Enix. It is gorgeous. They have gorgeous design of beautiful people. And what did they produce?
I'm telling
They produced Avengers Stunt Doubles.
Yeah, it's like you were saying earlier.
No,
it's
and that
like
would be insulting to stunt doubles, because a lot of those events, a lot of the stunt doubles are actually cuter than those, whatever the heck they produce.
Yeah,
well,
Matt made the reference to the Spaceballs scene where they said, "These are not them. You've captured their stunt doubles," and it does kind of have that vibe to it. But I swear to God, they all look like my coworkers. They look like ordinary guys who write code for a living. They don't look like superheroes.
I think that
you could make it. You have no excuse. You have models to base it on. Like Scarlett Johansson is gorgeous. Chris Evans, even though he drives me crazy, is beautiful. And the other thing, sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand.
You can tell that was developed in America. That's how you can tell. It was in freaking Silicon Valley. As soon as Square decided to go to the U.S., that's when everything went to crap.
Yeah, we mess everything up over here because we're so goddamn uptight. I swear to God.
I don't know. Part of it seems like this is what happens when a game company that's used to making pretty boy characters are told to make superheroes based on the comics and the movies.
Are you saying they're not good at making manly men?
Yes.
Okay, they don't know how to do that. They only know how to make Bishonen.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's them purposely saying, "Oh, it has to look ugly."
To be fair, Matt, when you're talking about the pretty boy thing, that's mostly Tetsuya Nomura.
That too.
To be fair,
well, we have some in the chat.
Have you seen the design he turned in for his Batman figure? Tetsuya Nomura.
That too.
But that thing is
Over
that thing
design.
is yes, over designed. Let me pull that up. We got. I'm gonna send this to you. Dan, because we gotta put this on the. This has got to go on the screen. Because this is. Because you got.
Go ahead.
All right.
Where are you sending it to me? In the Discord, I assume?
Yeah, about to right now. I'm gonna put it.
Oh.
Okay, which character is this?
That's Batman.
That's Batman?
Oh, that is sick. You gotta put this on the chat or they'll get really confused.
Okay. Let me see.
That's pretty tight. That's pretty tight. Yeah, Square Enix could have done something really creative or funky, but no. Well, it is a mobile game, so we can't expect much.
Hey, look, there's Raven.
Hey, Raven.
Hello.
Oh, she's got her mic muted. It's like Raven's got her mic muted. Okay. But yeah, show that on the screen, Matt. Show it on the screen, Dan.
I am.
It's so cool.
All right, so I put it here in the center of the screen here, and you should be able to see it momentarily.
Yeah, I see it. Like that's the Batman figure that was designed by Tetsuya Nomura. But a lot of people, but most people are thinking of Square Enix as like I guess you want to say, design eccentricities, they're really thinking of Tetsuya Nomura's. The dude has got no sense of restraint.
Yeah, that is excessive. Cody just came in. Hey, how you doing? Glad you can make it.
Hey, Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, this does not scream the terror that flaps in the night stealthily. This is like, I will charge right at you, guns blazing. This is Iron Man.
Terror that flaps in the night is Darkwing Duck.
Well, I know that.
That would be really cool, though. That would scare you if you ran across that. But I see some of the chat, like Gorgonite Emissary, he was saying he really, really likes the Doom Eternal trailer and gameplay.
Well, Doom 2016 revived my faith in the first-person shooter genre. That was just pure balls splattered on walls, nothing but a bloodbath start to finish. And
basically old school Doom with a modern paint job.
Exactly. They treated combat like something you wanted to do. You were incentivized to charge in and blast things to pieces and rip them limb from limb to get more ammunition and life. And the music was exquisite. Oh my god. I mean, I still love that game. I still do. I
would have been better with metal.
Yeah, but you know what? I've beaten almost every difficulty except Ultra Nightmare, and that just shows you just how much I enjoy playing it.
At least it didn't have. At least it wasn't like in Doom 3 where everything was dark and you had a flashlight that you hold in one hand, but you couldn't hold your weapon in the other.
Well, Doom 3 was survival horror. It completely misunderstood what Doom was. Doom 2016 reminded us why we love these first-person shooters in the first place. There's no safe spaces. The monsters will eventually find you if you try to hide. There's no cover. There's no regenerating health. Everything is you gotta get up there and blast them to pieces. And then you realize, hey, this is kind of fun. I enjoy blasting things to pieces. It's a shooter. Remember those?
Oh no, it's not allowed to be that way. Everything's gotta be all about Call of Duty or Battlefield.
Well,
or wandering around unraveling lesbian overtones of. Oh wait, that's only game journals like those sort of games.
Yeah, Doom from the very beginning, from the instant the opening cutscene completes, you're immediately in the gameplay, and then you immediately see your suit, and then the all-seeing, all-knowing voice tries to give you exposition, and then you just smash the screen saying, "I don't care about the exposition," and then you see a terminal that says "Demon Invasion in Progress." It's like, what terminal would say that? But it's great because it tells you exactly this is what's happening. The train is leaving the station. It's already moving. You better hop on and get on board because we're in for an amazing ride. And from start to finish, that's what it felt like. It felt like a roller coaster ride of just pure adrenaline. And I cannot wait for the sequel.
Yeah. I've been having fun playing Space Hulk Deathwing. It's a Warhammer 40k shooter where you play a Dark Angel librarian, and what happens is you go onto a Space Hulk, which, if you don't know what that is a derelict hulk of different ships and spacecraft that have been mashed together in the warp. And it just so happens this Space Hulk is crawling with Tyranids.
Oh, nice.
And Tyranids are like the Zerg's nastier older brother.
So you know what a Tyranid is, right, Raven?
I don't. Please fill me in because it sounds like a doozy.
Okay, so you know what a xenomorph is. You've seen Aliens, right?
Yeah.
Think that, but meaner.
Oh, like a super grumpy Gus?
Yes.
Very super grumpy. Very super grumpy, always hungry, and almost completely unkillable.
Well, I mean, if you're always hungry, it's fair to be grumpy, so can you really knock him?
And they are always hungry, yes.
Sounds like they need Snickers.
To 11.
Someone get them a Snickers.
They're
probably chill for like 30 seconds and then right back.
Yeah, if there are like two races in 40k that can survive to the end, I think it's going to come down to a never-ending battle between the orcs and the Tyranids, because orcs can reproduce just by spreading spores. So
And they don't muck about either.
They're almost as unkillable too.
But you know, humanity does have the Emperor with his text-to-speech device now, so I think they have a good chance to. If you guys haven't watched that series, you need to. It's utterly hysterical.
Where can we watch it?
On YouTube.
Yeah, just search for if the Emperor had a speech-to-text device, text-to-speech device. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll link it right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just watch it from the beginning. It's glorious.
I'll have to give that a watch.
Well, Mythoverse Comics says Tyranids would over-adapt unless Bork and Mork stepped in. And we haven't seen the tip of the Hive Fleet yet. And, of course, Gorgonite says Chaos Gods will win in the end.
Heretic.
Chaos doesn't. They just. True. Chaos exists with or without that humanity. They've
always been.
It's just a part of reality it's just part of reality. And Cody says, "Hey, I am Imperial faithful."
Is it heresy when it's a fact? Well, that depends who you ask.
And the Emperor started the Great Crusade with the conceit that he would starve the Chaos Gods, but he really did not get how they really kind of showed how little he understood them, because they don't need to be worshipped. They don't if people are committing wars or murdering each other, that still empowers Khorne. If people are still scheming against each other, that empowers Tzeentch. If people are living and dying, it still empowers Nurgle. And if people have things they want, it empowers Slaanesh.
So
Mythoverse has even scarier proposition. Maybe the Emperor dies and becomes the fifth god, Chaos God of Order.
Actually, according to Magnus, he was inadvertently making a Chaos God of Unbelief.
That Gorgonite is still pulling for Nurgle.
Of course.
Well, all this talk of never-ending.
Blood for the Blood God.
All this talk of chaos is a good reason to segue into what I wanted to talk about. Let's counter all this negativity with some awesome positivity that we saw at E3.
Ooh, yes.
Oh, yeah. So there were two major events that made me very, very happy. One, of course, was Keanu Reeves' breathtaking moment, which was, just another typical moment for my man, Sir Keanu Reeves. I'm sure you've all seen it, but for those who haven't, he was up there talking about Cyberpunk, and he says it's going to be absolutely breathtaking to walk through this future world. And then a YouTuber screams out, "You're breathtaking." And that trips him up, and he gets all flustered, and then he says, "No, you're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking." And the internet self-esteem grew about 5 sizes that day.
Yeah, he really had to go through a very rough patch there. I mean, his best friend died, his girlfriend died, all within a horrible section of his life, and so it's nice to see him get to do that. And he's also avoiding all lawsuits by not touching any women in photos.
Yeah. I mean,
he's keeping his hands 5 feet away.
He is the master of the hover hand. Yes. And some people say, "Oh, he's just being a gentleman." It's no, he's protecting himself.
No. He knows what's up. He knows what's up.
Yeah, a gentleman wouldn't make it obvious that his hands are way the far away from the body. So, anyway, so yeah, Keanu always makes me happy.
And also, I'm blanking on her name. The creator for is it Ghostverse? I'm sorry.
Akumi Nakamura.
Oh, she's so cute.
She was like last week. No one knew who she was, and now she's the internet sweetheart. Like everyone has a crush on her now. It doesn't matter who you are. She,
Aw.
for those who haven't seen it yet, just go search for her. Just go search for the presentation. It's what is it? Ghostline Tokyo. Is that the name of the game that she developed, or she's the creative director of? I think it's Ghostline
Yes.
Tokyo. Okay, yeah. So just go look for that.
She also worked on Bayonetta. She also worked on a couple other ones. But if it's Bayonetta, she's the one probably responsible for the very sexy looking costumes.
Yeah, she was an artist on those games. So.
Yeah, I think she
Mhm.
was playing Bayonetta.
Yeah, so that kind of puts a kink in that whole sexist silliness.
Yeah.
Well,
It's good
that
to
never
see her.
that never
Has
had
anyone-
any water held any water anyway. I mean,
Has
come on.
anyone,
No.
like, for the record, like, has anyone seen how Beth designs Althea?
How
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, Beth designs Althea with the largest breasts, and she's a female artist, obviously. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I probably.
Out of the three of them, yeah, I mean, like, out of our three art teams, actually, out of the three leads, I meant to say, I would have to say Althea is probably the bustiest.
yeah, based upon
Right.
how the artists depict them, yes. Although in that commission in which they're cosplaying as Sherlock and Watson, Adobe is pretty well endowed too.
Maybe she got a push-up bra.
Yeah, she definitely does.
Maybe it's just okay. Then maybe it's just how Beth designs women. I don't know. Matt's worked with her longer. Can you attest to that?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Well, it makes sense. Depending. I mean, it's more common than you think. I know a lot of people think, okay, anything bigger than like a C is ridiculous. I'm like, no, that's actually a little more common than you think.
Really,
But
women
again,
tend to. That's actually really common that women tend to draw women busty.
It's a fun
or
portion to kind of push.
You can. It's true. It does depend on what you're trying to do. Also, it's just there's a big, it goes as high as H sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You can go there, and maybe J or even I, but that's really pushing it. And that's when
If
people get
you
surgery.
dabble in any of the DeviantArt fan illustrations, it gets so bad, so bad.
Well,
That's when it's like maybe you need to chill, or they're like maybe
Yeah.
people pay me more. I don't know. I don't blame you. If you're hustling, man, you got to do what you got to do.
There's got to be a fan out there for it somewhere.
Gorgonite says the future leader of the Fremen peoples needs to have a huge rack, so it is written. Well, agreed.
It is.
Okay, when he
That
said-
was written.
I don't understand. I know that's a Dune reference, but what does that got to do with the Mythoverse?
It's a running gag with Gorgonite Emissary.
He just makes a random Dune reference because
I don't exactly remember what happened to cause it. I'm pretty sure Gorgonite Emissary probably remembers, but all I know is that it somehow led to Althea becoming the leader of the Fremen people.
maybe it could have been somewhere where you had her Twitter make a random Dune quote or something.
Gorgonite says Matt gave me too much power by saying Althea read Dune. Well, she does read, so I assume she would have read Dune.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
anyway,
she's probably the only.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say out of the three, she's probably the only one I think that actually does read books. Maybe just watches cartoons.
Adobe
Wow.
just sits by herself, quietly sulking. So anyway, Akumi Nakamura, she became the internet sweetheart. It's easy to see why. I mean, she is like flat out adorable, and she giggles and squeals like a kid, and because she was so thrilled and excited about the game she was making. And I think that's what really won everyone over. Not only was she adorable, but she's highly skilled and talented and accomplished, and she's so enthusiastic that you just can't wait to tear into that game that she's responsible for.
Yeah, it's almost
Also-
like when you believe in your product, other people believe in it too.
Of course. And like, I want to play that
True.
game. I want to play that game now. I don't know anything about it. I just saw the cutscene, but I know it's being made by people who love it, so I know that's going to be good.
And also, what's nice about it is like the fact she knew her audience, and so because it's her overseas, she made it a point to try to learn English to do her presentation, which I think impresses a lot of people too. So that shows a lot of intelligence. But also, it's really cute because she has a little bit of a Japanese accent, and which you can ask. It's very scary. It's very spooky. It's
Very
so
spooky.
cute.
And she does those adorable
I love
poses. Yeah.
that.
Yeah, like 3 of her poses have been memed already, like the cat pose and the spooky pose, and of course the little hop that everyone
Leg
knows.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, the leg
Let's
up.
go.
And that's why people like it. Well, it's because women aren't allowed to be cute anymore. They're
Yeah.
all trying to be men.
Well, that's funny you should say that because after she started receiving a whole bunch of fan art for her little leg hopping moment, she tweeted that like she is so happy that get all these fan art. She's never received this much positive attention. She's thrilled.
Oh.
And then there are some joyless dregs that say, "Hey, look, they're just making fun of you," you know.
Well, it was reset era, so it's
That's not even.
Oh, it's okay. Reset era? No. You don't take anything they say seriously.
Of course
They're all
not.
gonna get sued at some point.
Of course not. I mean, some people just can't be allowed to enjoy themselves without some
being
joyless.
being a reset era user, I think is a pretty good indicator that you've got a sub 80 IQ.
Yeah, just stop trying to suck the joy out of the room. Let people enjoy themselves. That's all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the only time you get to complain is when you're a fan of something and then people have co-opted it or something, and then you have room to be pissy.
Right. So, well, I'm really glad to see all that positivity in E3. Makes me excited for the games, Doom especially. And I really can't wait for Cyberpunk. That's going to be a blast, I think, if they manage to do it correctly.
Well, you know what? I want to say one more thing about Dune. It's the other creator, the guy that was just kind of the bigger guy who didn't necessarily say a lot. I thought he was really kind of cute too. Just
he was
because
he was her mentor, I believe. He was passing the torch to her. Kinda.
Shinji.
No, not that guy. No, I'm talking about Doom, the guy that was on the develop. I don't know if he was. I don't remember which one, but he was kind of the quieter guy. He was a little more stockier. But he was, he wasn't trying to make a big deal, probably because he wasn't used to kind of doing that as much. But even he was really kind of cute too, because they were excited about what they were doing as well. So, and I'm not necessarily a Doom person, but anyway.
Oh, well, you need
But
to
yeah, I'm waiting for Nintendo. That's gonna be interesting. Because theirs is usually like they don't do anything to like here's the games and walk away.
That's usually all they have to do because their games are usually enough on their own. So, has anyone subjected themselves to Dark Phoenix?
Why would I?
I'm just curious. Does anyone
my money.
has anyone here bothered to even consider seeing that?
No.
Not at all.
Good.
I've got no desire. I've got no
Did you?
desire.
Then I know I'm surrounded by people of good taste. That's wonderful. I had no desire.
I'm sorry.
What?
Once I saw that scene where it was like, it's rescue the men around here, and I didn't really even watch it, but I've been hearing that the guy does a lot of stuff, and that's why he's a cripple in the air. So I'm like, no. Just stop. As soon as I see that, I'm like, I'm not watching it. You're not getting 1 cent.
Yeah, I kind of do a Luke lightsaber over the shoulder thing when I see that.
To be honest, I mean, like, the last good X-Men movie was Logan.
Can you even consider that an X-Men movie? It just seemed completely out of universe for the entire series.
Well,
He had X-Men characters.
it was a good send-off for the entire franchise. It should have just ended there.
Yep.
Oh my.
Well, at least it was a good way for. It was at least a good note. It was at least a good note for.
You're checking?
Yeah, Hugh Jackman deck to go out on. Blanked on his name.
Kaiser Leo says, I just pop in my Last Stand DVD and boom, I've already watched The Dark Phoenix. Well, why would you want to watch Last Stand? That was even worse, I think.
Eh.
Well, apparently that was better than this. That's how bad it was. And Gorgon Emissary, his message was redacted because YouTube is a spineless twit. They're like, don't you mean X-Women, the movie?
How much is Syncodian Star Wrenches?
But what in Star Wrenches?
I would say give Codian. Why don't you give Codian Star Wrenches?
Okay, 1 second.
Because it keeps redacting because YouTube is being stupid.
Yeah, don't worry. Once you guys got mod privileges, you can fix that.
Oh, cool.
Hmm.
Well, he got his message through that first time, but I don't like that. Like, come on, people.
Yeah,
like, people can... God.
Yeah, while I'm doing that, Dark Phoenix is like one of the most revered storylines in Marvel Comics history, and there've been 2 adaptions of it on the big screen that have both been terrible. So that's really got to stick in the craw of some hardcore fans.
So, my question is, like, what was so, because I don't read Marvel, so...
Please leave.
It was Chris Claremont and John Byrne, like two legends, turning in like some of the best work of their career there.
I mean, come on, they even managed to ruin the Apocalypse storyline.
The what storyline? I didn't get that.
Apocalypse.
Oh, gotcha.
Like, X-Men Apocalypse wasn't really... Because if it put too much focus on Magneto when it should have been about Apocalypse.
I guess they forgot it was called Apocalypse.
Kind of like what Marvel did for Infinity War with Thanos.
Well, duh. That's how it should have been done. Seems like the only one they've actually managed to adapt. Okay, I take that back. There are two storylines from the comics they've successfully adapted, and that's Days of Future Past and Old Man Logan.
Oh, hey, Salem.
You just noticed he was in here?
Well, he's been on the DL here for a while.
All right.
I've been on the what?
The DL, down low.
Oh. Oh, well, hi.
All right, I'm just setting up the game I'm going to play while we talk. Has anyone ever heard of Slay the Spire?
No.
No. What is it about?
Okay. Are you familiar with roguelikes?
Kinda.
Okay. Are you familiar with deck building games?
Kinda.
Okay, well, this is both of those in one. Okay, so for those that aren't familiar, roguelike is just a randomly generated set of challenges each time you play. And when your character dies, you die for good and you have to start all over again. But any gear or equipment that you've unlocked during your adventure is available for you to find again or at the start of the adventure.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah, typically it comes from that old game Rogue, where the rooms are randomly generated and you had to gather treasure, kill monsters, and if you died, you had to start all over. And deck building games are basically you start with a weak set of cards, and as you progress, you have to replace them with stronger cards so that you can progress through the challenges, and that's essentially what you do here. So the storyline is you are climbing a spire, and you have to make it as high as you can, defeat bosses, and let me see. Actually, wait, I want to start over again. I don't want to resume. Save and quit. Okay.
Oh, so it's a deck. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, so let me abandon that current run. I'll play standard quest. I'll pick.
Oh my gosh, I'm
This-
sorry. I have a little Karibo in my head talking about, I want his deck. What? Yeah, the cards. Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the Silent. She's the high DPS assassin character. All right, so here we go. Talk.
Speaking of games, is anyone excited for WoW Vanilla?
You know what's funny is the developers have been trying for years to convince the player base that they don't want WoW Vanilla, and then they go into all these things like, you don't have to look for a group anymore, you just press a button. And okay, but the whole point of the game was the social aspect of it. In Vanilla, you had these massive groups of people that all knew each other because they had to work together. I have friends from, I don't know, from Vanilla that I still talk to and still occasionally visit, even though they live across the country. And you can't get that in current WoW anymore.
Our wedding photographer was a friend of my husband's, who was a guy from WoW. So.
Yeah, now in WoW, you just click a button and then you find yourself in a dungeon with 5 strangers from other servers that you'll never speak to and never see again. So you might as well just be playing a one-player game. Like, there's no social aspect to it anymore.
Yeah, that was something I hated about Neverwinter Online, dungeons. You kind of were forced to work with total strangers. Of course, the Neverwinter Online had other problems for me besides that.
All right, so go ahead.
Well, my husband is excited. He's already using paid time off to no life it for a while. Oh gosh, but that means that he'll just be busy though. That means I can do whatever and not be bothered or whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So the basic idea of this game is you have random forking paths that you can use to progress through the spire, and all these encounters here on the map are randomized. So you either have a monster encounter, an elite monster encounter, a shop, or a rest area, and you never know what you're going to fight, and you never know what cards you're going to earn. So it's a pretty neat experience. And it's pretty relaxing too because it's turn-based. So when you enter an encounter, you see your character over here on the left. Okay, and you have your cards here along the bottom, and you see the enemies over here on the right. And the enemies telegraph their moves. You can see above their head, like this dude here is going to hit me for 11 points, and the slime is going to attack me with a debuff. So I have to tactically plan to mitigate the damage and deal as much damage as I can. Okay, so you can play, I have 3 energy, so I can play 3 energy cards. And I need to be able to defend, so I'm going to defend first. And then strike. And then do that. And it just goes like this. It's sort of risk-reward attack defense chance that you have to take every turn.
Someone's trying to heal me, don't worry.
Is there other YouTube or Twitter links you want me to put in the chat as well?
You can do what you want.
Uh-oh.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, what?
Salem, what did you do?
I'm sorry. I was just looking through Twitter and Weaponized Nerd Rage tweeted something really amazing.
Wait, was
Oh
this
my
about his
gosh,
friend?
what did he do?
Was this about his friend wanting the Aguijo
Yes.
face? engraved on his shotgun.
Wanting what?
The Agiho face. It's that. I'll show you what it is.
I'm sorry. I couldn't hold that in. And the entries so far are golden.
Oh dear. I'm afraid. I'm very afraid. No, it's his. Oh, it's his movie reviews, right?
No.
Oh, okay. You see, because I follow him too.
Okay, I'm about to tweet. I'm about to put this in the Discord. Let's start.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Agiho face.
Oh, Agiho. Oh, but he made one for his
His friend wants that engraved on his shotgun.
Oh, boy.
So it looks like the shells are being pumped into it.
Okay. Now I put it. Oh, Agiho face. I don't know how it's pronounced. I'm sorry. Oh no. Well, you know what they say. armed people don't get whacked. Wait.
Well, in this case, we can no longer say an armed society is a polite society.
Well, that's more of you're not gonna. If we're impolite, you're not gonna make a big to do, or else you're dead.
Well, I didn't mean to hijack the stream, guys. I really couldn't keep that in. I had to laugh and I couldn't hit the mute button quick enough.
Oh no, that is terrible. That's terrible. Oh my gosh.
Well, you know what? It's better Salem derails the stream with something funny he finds on Twitter as opposed to, well, Matt can attest to this. How many times has Akajin derailed the Kumite stream with some bullshit?
Since they go on for about 6 hours, that'd probably be about 70 times.
So, and it's really bad when Killing Joke has to come in and then set things back on track.
Well,
But-
I think we should have a derailment safe word. Wait. Just in case.
Peaches?
What?
I don't know.
I mean,
You said safe word, so I thought peaches.
Peaches. It's like Peaches. Come on, you're taking it too far a different way.
or maybe use it for when it goes into territory where it gets us suspended.
But
Peaches,
can you please
man.
not mention safe words when we're talking about those faces, because it's
Yeah.
it gives me a whole different impression.
Gorgonite Emissary makes a good point. Relaxing wouldn't be the first thing that comes to mind for me when I think of roguelikes. In most cases, yes, like FTL is enough to, induce a heart attack. But this is actually, it's turn-based, and you can pause it and walk away and strategize. So it's a bit less of a stress inducer.
They don't even put a countdown on it.
They don't even what?
They don't even put a countdown.
No, there's no countdown.
Is it a little more?
It's all turn-based.
Is it a little more?
Go ahead.
Is it a little more strategic?
Yeah, it's strategic, and there's a lot of luck involved. Like, because you never know what the monster is going to do, and you might not have any chance of countering their attacks.
Darkest Dungeon is turn-based, and that game makes me want to punch the screen sometimes. Well, Darkest Dungeon is also a horror game.
Well, that game is designed to make you insane. That's the whole theme of the game.
Masochists play that game.
Yeah, like I managed to build up some wonderful characters, like a well-balanced party, and then everything went south within 2 encounters, and I lost them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very frustrating, and I lost my best characters. And that's what the game is designed to do. It's designed to make you want to keep trying because of that variable interval reinforcement principle that roguelikes thrive on. So it's like you never know what's going to happen, so you keep playing and you never get tired of it.
That's it's a big reason why Diablo 2 is still Blizzard's highest selling game to this day.
Yeah, it's that random unpredictability.
With the way the dungeons are designed in Diablo 2, you're never playing the same game twice.
Yep, that's roguelikes for you.
Was that back in the day when Blizzard actually cared about its employees?
Well, the Blizzard that built itself up into the Blizzard we know now no longer exists. Like, none of those people are in the company anymore.
Okay.
It's a shame, but it's the truth. This is why you get people saying you don't want to go back to vanilla, because you actually have to talk to people in vanilla. It's like, you have no idea what made WoW successful, do you?
Well, I think they're desperate for money now, so they're just like, we'll do whatever you want now.
Okay, so Aaron says, speaking of derailment, when are we going to play D&D 5th edition? I was told there's going to be RPG.
There was. Wait, what? Hold the phone there. What's he talking about?
Well, he's talking about D&D 5th edition, obviously.
I understand that, but he said there was going to be RPG. What's that got to do with us?
I'm not sure.
Or he is our... Oh, it's a complete derailment that has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, there you go. You get it. I did not have to whip out the joke you gif again.
I think that's the only thing that chat needs. YouTube is gifts.
Yeah.
I can never get enough too.
I'm so glad you say gifs. It's just a pet peeve.
I have fallen prey to that gift sometimes because of Brian.
Yeah, well, Brian is
Okay,
mercilessly insincere. Like, he doesn't give a shit.
I can't. I just pronounce things how I read them, so that's why I picked what I picked. So if they wanted it the other way, they should have put a J.
Yeah. Or they shouldn't call it graphic interchange format. That's what it stands for. So graphic. There you go.
Yeah.
So there's even a hidden R. Okay, but now we're getting something.
So
Okay, but to get back to E3, I heard there was a Breath of the Wild sequel announced.
There was. That's why Nintendo won E3, essentially. That was all.
And it looked. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's all I saw. It's like Breath of the Wild 2 is in development, and that was all anyone needed to see.
This would be aside from Link's Adventure, this would be the first time in a long time a Zelda game has gotten a direct sequel.
That's true. Or that train one.
This one though looks super gnarly. Like it actually gave me like I was getting like legitimately like anxious looking at it because it had like a horror vibe to it.
Yeah, I think the last time a Zelda game got that dark was a Majora's Mask.
Yeah, this thing was it was I mean, I don't know what their initial plan is, but the just the visuals alone were just very not Zelda-esque. Like it was very, very I don't know, it almost rang like a dark fantasy game.
A little bit. But it's more, my question is, wait, I thought we defeated everything at all. Now I'm confused.
Yeah, I haven't played Majora's Mask, but I've heard that's as dark as Zelda games ever get.
It really is, because there was that feeling of inevitability throughout the whole game. And
well, it's more like a thriller in that way.
That's right. Well, the world is destroyed over and over again, and you just go back through time and you try to essentially Groundhog Day your way through it. Oh my god, this guy's gonna kill me.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, it's kind of
every game.
like Twilight Princess isn't even that dark, and it's practically in the name.
Oh, I am so dead. Oh god. He has this.
The best Zelda game, may I say?
I think what I like most about Breath of the Wild is it really harkens back to the very first Zelda game, where it was all about exploration and discovery. Back in those days, before, if you didn't have Nintendo Power, you were freaking lost. Like, you didn't know, there was no one told you what to do. There was no tutorials. There was no walkthroughs. You had a manual, but that just gave you a lot of backstory. It didn't really tell you anything about what you needed to do in the game. So figuring that game out was all about talking to your buddy over the phone, saying, "Did you find level 4 yet?" No, I didn't. You know, that kind of stuff. And Breath of the Wild is like that too, because they don't really tell you where you're supposed to go. You just, this guy says, "Hey, look over there. That looks cool," and that's it. And then it's up to you to explore the world and find out what you want to do. And everything is, except for like defeating Ganon, I think, is optional. You don't even have to do any of it.
Well, actually, some people have
Deads.
tried to defeat Ganon, and I think that like one guy did it. He somehow figured it out.
Killing Ganon like right out of the gate is doable, but it's hard as balls.
That's the beauty of it. If you want, you can try it, but you're going to be fighting him with like a stick and 3 hearts or whatever you start with.
Yeah, kind of. I think I remember coming across this one video where a guy managed, supposedly, quote unquote, beat Morrowind in 5 minutes.
Did he glitch the game?
Not as far as I could tell. Like, I'll link that in the meme channel, because you have to see that. Because I mean, as far as I could tell, it doesn't look like he glitched or modded it or anything.
Because I know there was this way to defeat Super Mario Brothers 3 in under 10 seconds, and you did that by glitching the game to the end screen, basically. Which doesn't really make any sense to me, but okay.
It does not, to be honest. Okay, so new Zelda game. I think they also announced a new Smash game. Surprise to nobody.
What about a new Mario Kart
wait.
game?
I think it was just a DLC, Brett.
Say what?
The Smash game? I think it was just a DLC.
Really?
Yeah, the Banjo-Kazooie.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't a new one, I don't think. I could be wrong, but pretty sure it's just DLC for the fall.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
No, I'm not. I'll take your word for it, because I don't know enough. All I know is that Banjo and Kazooie got announced for Smash, and JonTron went nuts. Taken off.
Aaron is suggesting that I make a perception check. Yeah, I have to go over here and look at the RPG I'm playing over here. Hold on a second. Oh, damn it, you're just trying to derail the chat again, aren't you?
This time you fell for it.
Nah, not really. Let me see here.
Oh, it's Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Scott is the creator of Wrath, another offering from Wicked Publishing, and it's on Kickstarter right now. So if you haven't,
pretty close to the end.
it's getting pretty close to the end. If you haven't backed it, please go do so. It looks like it's going to be pretty exciting. From what I've seen, it looks like it's going to be a really interesting story.
Oh yeah. No, actually, I remember we had Scott on a stream once, and I was describing Adobe's night where she got arrested. I think he said it was like, what, a PC-90X something.
PC90X? I'm sorry.
I don't know. It was some kind of legal. Scott knows that I don't. Scott, if you can type that in the chat, I'd appreciate it. I think one thing we kind of discussed was whether or not like 148. You gotta help me out here, Scott, because like I don't speak lawyer. But yeah, like I think one thing we were talking about was like whether or not like if Adobe's thing was like bad enough to send her to juvenile hall or actually get her tried as an adult. Because I mean I know it like varies from state to state, but I mean like as far as I know, like Adobe's thing was just a bunch of vandalism and
there was some nasty stuff. I don't want to go into. I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, it was a pretty dark night to say the least.
Scott says PC 148 is resisting, PC 69 is fighting an officer.
Okay, well she definitely did that. All right.
Pretty, like okay. One thing we can at least take off the table. Nobody got killed, right?
No, nobody got killed. No, definitely not.
Okay, so yeah, I don't
How
think.
close were they, though?
Pretty close.
Okay, so nobody got killed, but
Somebody got battered.
So like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say like it sounds like even if you're going by Florida laws, it doesn't sound like anything that was bad enough to get Adobe tried as an adult.
No, she was probably just bound for juvie.
Yeah. Good. Like last time I checked, they don't try as an adult for an assault charge.
No.
Well, assault and battery. I found out that there's actually a difference. Assault is just harsh language. Battery is when it gets physical. Gorgonite says if Tank's meme advertising is anything to go by, it was enough to piss off Jesus. I think he's referring to Wrath.
Yeah, Tank is really quite good at boosting campaigns with memes. He did that a lot for us during our campaign.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, he did.
And I'm putting an Easter egg in issue 1 and issue 2 as a way of saying thank you for him.
Well, because since there's going to be more people in Mythics issue 2, that's when I'm going to have an Easter egg for referencing his characters, but nobody tell him.
Yeah, all he's got to do is watch the archive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like speaking of issue 2, I've almost got the script for the new draft for Changeling issue 2 finished. Just got to add in a couple more pages, and I would say it's pretty much done.
How many pages is it going to end up being? I know you were trying to pare it down from 40 to about half that much.
I think about 32, 33, which is a number I'm okay with.
Is that how long issue 1 is going to be?
I think issue 1's well within that range. I think it was like 32.
Cool. So yeah, in case you missed the announcement, we did get the money from the Kickstarter, so I'm going to be dispersing those to Matt and Brett so that respective teams can get busy.
Oh yeah. Oh, and guess what? Also, we gotta do. We have to fill out fucking paperwork.
Yeah.
Oh,
man.
well, this is new. I just sent that to you, Dan.
That's great. Yeah. For those who are wondering, yeah, I needed to send to both Brett and Matt W-9s because I got the money for the Kickstarter into my business account. So it's technically income for me, and I need to expense out their shares, and they need to treat it as income too. So I'm going to need to get them. Need to get them a 1099 after I get their W-9s, so that the IRS will not come and ask us what we think we're doing.
Yeah,
and they just ruin everybody's days.
They really do.
Well, it's like
I am firmly in the end of Fed camp.
yeah, but if it's still there, just make it one page and just do a flat text. done. There's no like sneakering around trying to get all these like any sneaky. Just a flat thing. Everybody will be happy.
Yeah, but how are they gonna get the bad guys like they did with Al Capone?
Now, trust me, they would find ways.
But tax evasion was like the only way they could have done it.
Yep.
Well, that's one thing you just don't do. I mean, you do not withhold money that the government wants to take from you. Period.
I mean, who do you think you are now?
You don't withhold anything the government wants.
Nah, man.
Not just money.
They have more men with guns. Okay. Oh, Aaron says, Scott rolled a 8 on his perception check. So cool. That means he notices that it is nighttime. You may want to use your lantern or risk being eaten by a grue. Just once. I would like to see what a goddamn grue looks like.
There's no art for that?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I never bothered to look. I'm sure someone has imagined what they might look like, but let's see.
Yeah, or I could bug my friend to try to figure that out. Yeah. Oh, sleepy though. All of a sudden, I got super sleepy.
Scott casts light. Well, you should really have cast magic missile at the darkness. That's the winning play.
Yeah. Be right back.
Good call. The grue was coming up from behind, and he was blinded momentarily. It screams in shock and rage. Uh-oh.
Good. Grues are dicks. Just because I don't have my light on does not mean I consent to being eaten.
Clerics do not have magic missile.
Clerics don't have magic missile?
Okay, my husband's correcting it. What was that again?
They do if they have a wizard past life.
They do have it if they have a wizard's past life.
That's CDO rules.
That's CDO rules, of course.
I'm about to get owned again anyway. Oh, damn it.
Well, what are we playing by? Is this, Gorgonite? You can tell me. Or Aaron, I should say. Yep, but a flat tax would be nice, just because it'd be a lot simpler, everybody would figure out what's going on, and it would just be that simple. Since government is a necessary evil, unfortunately.
I do not remember the first level being this difficult. Holy cow, I must have missed a patch or two.
Maybe.
Probably.
I'm getting slaughtered. Usually I can make it to the end of the second level without too much difficulty. I'm getting killed halfway through. Damn it.
Hey, do you hear the sound of that? That is the sound of get good.
Yeah, I think it was God, what was it? Oh yeah, The Fractured Butthole, the South Park sequel RPG, had one of those helpful loading screen tips that said, if you're having trouble in combat, try getting better at the game. Yeah, so
I got that from a Dark Souls meme.
Nice. Well, yeah, that game is
it showed
evil.
someone from Kotaku complaining that the game was too hard, and it showed a Dark Souls veteran going, "Do you hear the sound of that? It's the sound of get good."
Look, Disney Princess Maker is too hard for them.
Oh my goodness.
Come on. Dean Takahashi couldn't even get past the Cuphead tutorial.
My daughter got past the Cuphead tutorial in one try.
A cleric in 5th edition that has the Arcana domain cast magic.
Oh,
You hear
what was that again?
You hear that, Dean?
The Arcana domain allows clerics to cast magic.
Okay, my husband was being nerdy. It's in the 5th edition, if you have the Arcana domain, you can cast magic missile. that's in that.
All right, I'm gonna try one more time with the third character. And if I can't get past the first level, then I officially need to get good.
Yeah. Just one
Hey.
thing. I just want to point out something. Dean, an 8-year-old girl was able to get past a tutorial you struggled with. How do you feel?
Well, my to be fair, my daughter was playing Lego games on the Xbox when she was barely 2.5.
Brett, Ethan Ralph couldn't get through 5 seconds of the game because he could not get the controller to work for his PC.
Well,
Wow, that's pathetic.
I'm still waiting for another game to do what the South Park one did, since you brought that up,
Well,
and it's make the difficulty level dependent on.
Oh yeah, that was brilliant. I mean, thank God for Matt and Trey. I'm so glad that they exist and that they're making content.
Yeah, I think
I'm
isn't like a thing a
Yeah.
mechanic that if you die enough times, the game just gets easier.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the second game really, really ramped up the satire because in the second game you're able to go to Mr. Mackey, and you're able to select your gender, and you can be any number of genders. You can be non-binary and all that, and you can do all the stuff. And no matter what you pick, like if you end up being like a cis white male, for example, you still get people coming up to you and saying, "Hey, sissy, where do you think you're going, sissy?" You know, that kind of stuff. So like the rednecks will roll up and give you shit no matter what combination you pick. And apparently some people on Twitter didn't realize this because they were so excited that they could select non-binary as an option. And then the rednecks come up and give them shit for being non-binary. And they called Matt and Trey bigots. I said, dude, that happens regardless of what you pick. That's the joke.
Some people, the joke goes over their heads way too often.
Yeah, I mean,
or they choose to misinterpret the jokes so that they can claim victim status.
yeah, precisely.
That too.
Yeah. Yeah, the joke was the rednecks are intolerant of everything. So
that's true.
And
Yeah.
really, if you've ever been around rednecks, they are. Isn't this? I mean, okay, take this from someone who's lived in the UP of Michigan for the past 6 years.
Dude, everything outside of Seattle is full of redneck country.
Yeah. So let me just say, it's like the only people they tolerate are people who live in the woods. That's it. Everyone else is fair game.
yeah, Gorgonite says Matt and Trey give no fucks, and thank God for that.
I think it's more they have an extreme in-group preference.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, most people do.
That's true.
And
That's
there's
very true.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's natural. I don't mind it. I get a little bit upset when people say certain people are not permitted to have in-group preference. And I was like, yeah.
Well, you know what, Dan? That's exactly what a Nazi would say.
Oh my gosh! Don't get me started.
Well, no, I'm just okay. I'm not going to get into my whole backstory, but I'll just say here, I am a part of a certain demographic who people keep talking about how they're going to be fighting for me, and I really, really, really get sick and tired of hearing that because it's like, let me speak on my own behalf. I don't need you to. I mean, it's that whole thing with Gamergate again. # not your shield.
Mhm. Yep.
So
That's what
didn't mean to
happens
go
when you
off
have
on a
ovaries.
didn't mean to go off on a spiel, but I just, it's been, I don't know, someone pointed this out today on Twitter, and it seems to be really true. It seems like things are kind of quiet, for as quiet as they can in modern political climates these days, for about 2 months, and then all of a sudden June hit, and all that went out the window, and everyone got ferocious again.
Well, a certain event started to happen, and so then it's just kind of fair game. Well, it's interesting though. It's not just conservatives that are getting it. Just recently, Tim Pool did his video, and so it was one was pro-life groups on Pinterest that were being labeled as porn, but the second thing that was anti-war left was being blacklisted as well, which I thought was very interesting. So it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. You're not gonna find any of that shit in the Mythoverse. Like I always say, like May's in high school. I don't think she doesn't care who the president is. She has enough baggage to deal with in her daily life already.
And that's very typical of teenagers. They're just trying to. I don't know though. I'd actually be interested.
I think the only way you could get a teenager interested in politics is if the presidential candidate talks about raising the gas price, price of gas.
I do remember.
Actually-
I think kids in my high school, they went nuts when Obama got elected because oh my God, black guy's president now.
Well, when I was in high school, the seniors, I was a sophomore back then. The seniors were concerned about Al Gore winning because that would make he'd raise the gas price to $5 per gallon.
Well, when people have to start paying for things, they suddenly get serious.
Yep.
Oh yes, this mysterious thing. It's like, oh wait a minute. Uh-oh.
Like if all these people in favor of massive government largesse actually did not have any taxes withheld from their checks, but had to physically write checks for all the taxes and not have it just magically go away outside of mind, a lot more people would be against it.
Yep.
Well, I've heard like one thing again, bring up Simple, but I think it's Simple was making a point that because people have such large school debt, their money is already going somewhere anyway. They figure they might as well get something since they're giving away the money anyway. And I thought that, oh, that's interesting. I never thought of it that way. But of course, gotta just save money. Hey Salem, I was curious. Is that story finished yet, or are you still working on it? Hello.
Is Salem still with us?
Oh, good.
Might not be. But yeah. But yeah, I can't imagine that anyone may have really cares about who the president is. So I'm just it's like I said, high school is enough of a drag for her.
Okay, hello. Can everybody hear me?
Hey, Salem.
Yep. Yeah.
There you are.
All right, sorry. My thing, like, I may have cut out in the past 5 minutes. You guys were talking. I have no clue what happened. It just cut out, and I couldn't hear anything.
Star was asking about where your story was right now.
Yeah, the one that you mentioned on Twitter that you were working on, or is that not ready yet?
Oh, for the Wicked magazine, the
Yeah.
articles.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned one short story.
Oh, the short story collection. Oh, I mean, those are all I'm working on. All those, I've got about half of them done.
Oh, cool.
But the one I just kind of started, and then the other one I haven't even started yet because I got to do some hands-on research for that one.
Okay.
And I've also got to wait for someone who helped me, who's helping me with the idea, finish up her vacation so I can talk to her a little bit about it, so I can make sure that everything's accurate as much as she originally as she had the original idea. So.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
I kind of have a rule where it's like if I have been somewhere or if I've been talking to someone who has like inside knowledge to something, and I want to present my my ideas being accurate, then I need to be as hands-on as possible. So with the thing that I'm working on next, I need to travel to this certain location and actually visit the place and talk to some actual people who mine the area in order
Oh,
to
cool.
in order to present it as authentically as I can.
That's a lot of work, man. I'm just doing all the research. It's like, yikes. That's why I'm cheating with my story. I'm just gonna make up a whole new country. That's gonna make it a whole lot easier. And then as I say that, I realize, wait, I have to create everything.
Hey, Claire, why didn't you use an imaginary? Halifax.
That's what I said. Oh, honey, hush. My husband. He said we wouldn't get political, so I won't say what he said. Anyway, moving on. But yeah. So oh man, that just sounds really difficult to do though sometimes.
Oh, dude,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with making stuff at the top of your head. I don't know. I guess it's just I don't know if you guys have ever felt this, but it's like, have you ever felt guilty perhaps when you're trying to portray something and you're worried if it'll come across as authentic or as you want it to or not?
I kind of
Well,
get
it's more like a concern, not necessarily. Well, it is kind of guilty, but it's also like, does this sound right?
Yeah.
I think that it's most difficult to achieve that in terms of dialogue unless you spend a lot of time listening to people talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan, in total, how many hours of research would you say went into Adobe Kroger?
In terms of research, I lost count. But the thing is, almost all the dialogue was culled from actual conversations. So a lot of
This is here's something funny. You said when you were trying to pitch this to actual publishers, you kept getting turned down, and the reason why was?
Well, there was a number of reasons. But the most common reason was, a woman would not speak like this. And I said, well, I've spoken to many women who speak verbatim like this. That's where a lot of her dialogue came from. So I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, so yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Adobe speaks very bluntly, directly, plainly, and she has a very earthy voice. And almost all of her significant lines were, like I said, they were culled from conversations I had. So.
Oh, that's interesting. What were the people like? I'm just really curious, that you were trying to pitch to. I'm just wanting to get a flavor.
Here's the interesting thing. I did not scattershot the pitches. I very, very meticulously researched each and every agent that I pitched. I looked at their blogs. I read interviews that they did. I made sure that they were looking for the specific type and genre and character that I was pitching. Like every single one of them said they want young adult urban fantasy with a strong female lead. Okay, well here it is.
Moby is not young adults.
It depends what you. Actually, I had a niece that's read more adult books than Adobe, and she was 14. So it really depends on the reader.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was about to say I was reading Jaws when I was 11 years old.
I'll just say though, it's just I'm kind of with Blake Northcott when I say that things that should not go in young adult books are graphic sex and explicit language.
Well, there's no sex in Adobe, although there is a makeout scene. But yeah, there's a copious earthy language. But it's not gratuitous. I mean, she only busts out the F-bombs when she's furious.
Can you describe what the people you were trying to pitch to, were they women?
Yeah, they were all women. I mean, most of them are. I mean, in traditional publishing...
there's your problem.
Yeah. It was hard to find. It was hard to find a male agent that would service my genre. I don't know why. Because
women dominate that.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Women women dominate the literature industry, and the problem is they don't run it like a business.
Oh, hell no.
I mean, if I was a transgender African American, I would have gotten snarked right up.
Well, all you needed to do is put on a wig then.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, it worked for Mags Visaggio. Ooh, never mind.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Not a high
Would
bar.
you like to hear? Would you like to hear something that's a little interesting? Because I'm actually surprised to hear that because I don't want to give details away, but a project that I'm hoping to work on in the future, I had actually finished some years ago and had actually tried to get it published, and I was given a whole earful about how the character wouldn't work because she was too I was told that women today don't speak like this, and they were talking about her talking like motherly and like very very like
very feminine?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, screw that. I would have read that story in a heartbeat.
Actually,
I just find it funny because it's like the thing is, Dan, I wonder if you can agree with this. It's like at some point you got to be like, okay, I'm willing to play ball with you guys, but what is your rules? Because it seems like you keep changing them.
Right. Yeah.
Because
Precisely.
it's like with you, okay, so your character didn't talk too, I guess, aggressive or masculine, but my character was too motherly. It's like, where's the in between?
Now that's weird. Now the masculine thing for Adobe is weird because I would think, oh, that's actually really cool. But I think it was the fact you don't have the ovaries. That's the main problem. I bet you if you sent in your wife or something to pitch it and made it off like she was the one who did it, I probably would have been got in a heartbeat.
Oh, I have no doubt that they would have been itching to represent an up-and-coming female author. Because that's what's important, not the content. The identity of the author is paramount.
Then in that case, you probably should have just had your wife be the face of the book.
Yeah, looking back, who knows? That might have worked. But, it's fine.
It's okay.
I'd rather do it myself at this point.
Although it's the internet, sooner or later they would have found out, wait, she doesn't write the book.
Yeah, my wife would not want to be in the public eye anyway. So yeah. That was not an option.
Yeah.
I thought about that, like, whether I want a pin name for my creation or not. But, I mean, I thought about that, but it's okay. I mean, I guess it's fine. It's already out there. Well, at least my maiden name is, but... who knows?
So, though, I mean, I would say it worked out for the best, though, because, like, now because if Dan hadn't gotten rejected, we wouldn't have Adobe in the Mythoverse.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
exactly.
Just as a point of reference, I pitched to, I think, 14 agents, and not one of them was interested. So
wasn't there one change you made to Adobe that was kind of on your wife's suggestion, though?
Yeah, I mean, and in the original draft, Adobe was heterosexual, and that was the big problem is that I kept getting was heterosexual women don't talk like this, even though they do, and I have evidence. If I wish I had recorded it, because a lot of the dialogue was, in fact, spoken by very heterosexual women. So my wife just said, just make her a lesbian then. I'm like, okay, fine. It really made no difference to the story. I just swapped the gender of her love interest, and that was it. And actually, it seemed to flow a bit more nicely anyway. I was much more comfortable writing the romance scenes without a guy in it. I don't know why.
It's kind of interesting though, because we got like Adobe's gay, Althea's bi, Maeve is straight.
Yeah, but the fact that Adobe is gay makes no difference to the story at all. It doesn't enter into it. It's just something she happens to be, and when she's in a relationship, it'll be with a woman. That's it. There's nothing else to it. Anyway.
Yeah, though, unfortunately, you're probably going. It's all right. I have to say that probably the only complications come from crazy people who will say that you're objectifying lesbians.
Well, the fact that I'm a straight man writing a lesbian is already a problem.
Come on, I'm a straight man. I'm a straight man writing a teenage girl. I could get so much worse.
Yeah.
Way worse.
All right, I actually made it through the first act. Hooray!
Yay!
I just took 3 tries. All right, here goes.
Well, one of my characters I'm doing is well, no, I'll keep that one a secret. It'll be a surprise.
Yeah, I don't mind letting people know that she's gay because it's not important to the story at all.
Thing is, with writing Maeve, I was kind of surprised by how well people said I characterized her, because like I was kind of like I said I originally made her a girl because if I made her a boy, then it'd be too easy to insert myself into her.
Gorgonite says the holy trinity of sexualities. Yes, it's like a gradation. It goes straight, bi, gay.
Yeah, because if she was keep making her a girl, it helps me keep some kind of distance from her. But it's like I was also kind of worried I wasn't going to be able to portray her like honestly, and yet everyone says she feels like a real girl.
Well, she definitely does. I think you've got something there.
Yeah, and it sounds really kind of sweet and heartwarming, and I dig that. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to. Not that I'm saying anything bad. I'm sure I'll like everybody.
That's fine.
So what is it about changing that you like above Mythics and Adobe Pro? Like, anyway, I'm phrasing that wrong. Star, like, what is the changeling got that Adobe Kroger and Mythics don't for you?
Actually, I think Adobe is going to be pretty interesting because that's cool because that's like a little bit of vigilante. Elphaba's a little more mysterious, so that one I don't know as much. I'm not getting much of. I feel like I kind of know what I'm getting with Changeling, and not like predictability, but I'm kind of like, oh, okay, this looks interesting, and there might be some twists and turns I don't know. Whereas I think what Matt has in his corner is there's a little more mystery with Elphaba, and it's actually interesting because it's like someone who has to use their wits. I actually, when I did my little comic that I was commissioned to do, I found Elphaba was like the one using her brain throughout the whole thing, and so that aspect is really interesting to me.
Yeah, Althea is definitely the brains of the operation. Adobe is the muscle. I mean, she's not dumb.
Sorry.
She's compared to Althea, she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer.
Well, no, I think Adobe just is very practical. She's just like, oh, I can just smash this and I get the thing done.
Yeah, she's more of a tactician, and Althea would be more of a strategist.
Maybe it's more
Well, I think Adobe keeps to the thing. If it looks stupid but it works, it's not stupid.
Right. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like you said, she is very practical. That's a good way of looking at it.
She's blunt and straightforward to a fault.
Yeah. If you haven't had a chance to listen to the audio sample of the novel, it's on the Mythoverse channel. But yeah, the audiobook is available on Audible, and you can see in that story she is very good at improvising in the moment. Not the best planner though. And that's where she fits into the trio.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Maeve's strength though is she's definitely got the heart.
Yeah, I think we were goofing on each other on Twitter on our role-playing accounts when Adobe said, yeah, Althea's definitely the brains and I'm the brawn, and Maeve says, where do I fit in? And Adobe says, selfies.
It's all about selfies, man. Sorry about selfies. Actually, what I do think is interesting is about the orientation thing. It kind of reminds me of Sailor Moon a little bit, and although that one didn't quite go into like the biness as much, but that one had like a gradation where it kind of made sense how, you know, mostly this and then there was one gay couple, but it was like it was proportional, so it didn't feel like it was just shoved in there inorganically.
Right. Yeah, one of the things that Adobe is telling her therapist in book 2 is that it's very difficult because despite what Hollywood or comics tell you, there just aren't that many gay people around. And so it's very hard to find someone that A, you're attracted to and they're attracted to you in return. B, you share the same values so you can actually have a healthy relationship.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know what's interesting is what you're bringing up is like actual problems that community faces and that they could probably actually relate to.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, again, this is all based on
and
conversations.
instead of just constant like, and I don't mean it in terms of like pride of like the Pride Month. I mean just like I'm proud to be this. It's like okay, but you know, it's not all sunshine and once again, no pun intended, rainbows.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
sure that there's struggles with it, you know, and I mean, good God, I mean, I honestly, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be in that situation like that. That's got to be like heartbreaking every day of your life, knowing that it's like you could be attracted to someone and you know they
Yeah,
might
I feel
not
the same way.
share a similar taste.
yeah, like the pool is very narrow because yeah, you might be attracted to that other person, but they might have completely contrary values to you and they might be crazy. And straight people have a much wider pool so they can go on to the next, but someone like Adobe really doesn't. Because there's not like a million lesbians out there in her town where she can pick from.
Even
Well,
though
bring it to San
Hollywood and Marvel
Francisco
would
and-
make you want to think that way.
Yeah, I mean, in Marvel, like, every woman's a lesbian. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bring it over to San Francisco. She'll find someone.
Yeah, that's what she says. Like, you have to go where they're concentrated. Otherwise, you literally might meet one every couple of months if you're lucky. And then they have to be available, and then they have to want to be with you, and then they have to be sane, and like, and it just keeps piling up.
Oh yeah, the sanity part can be a little, yeah.
I get the feeling Maeve would have some very interesting conversations with Adobe because, like, even though I've had Maeve say on her Twitter that she doesn't care about boys, she thinks they're dumb and gross. I mean, like, come on, we know deep down she doesn't actually think that.
Aaron's heading out. Thanks for coming, and thanks for playing D&D in the chat. That was very entertaining. Good night, man.
Thank you.
Later, Aaron.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, like, she might yell over Twitter, "Boys are dumb and gross," but nobody actually believes she thinks that.
I mean, what
It's
teenager
Twitter.
at that point? What teenager at
Well-
that point wasn't saying those things?
Star, what were
Well,
you gonna
let's
say?
be real. At that point, she's not interested in boys. Boys are just trying to get what they need to do.
She's 14. How can?
What was it? I was listening to something and it was this young girl like saying, "I'm bi," and she's like 11. She's like, someone said, "You're 11. You're not even allowed to be straight." Just like, I thought that was funny. It was like, no.
Yeah, she's.
Well, don't forget also
What?
that Maeve was raised in a devout Christian household, so she probably isn't necessarily encouraged to date at 14.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I would not. I mean,
Or at
even if I
least
was
if she's going to-
secular, I would be like, nope. I'm putting a lockdown on that.
No, or if anything, her mom has to meet the boy first.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think you're all just a bunch of bigots, and
Yeah.
Are
You got
you
me.
going to require a bribe, or I mean, reprimation of some
Yeah.
sort?
We have to hire a sensitivity
I have to
consultant.
imagine her mom's
Reader,
role.
oh. Hint, hint, cough, cough.
I have to
Say no
imagine
more.
her mom's rule. I have to imagine her mom's rule is that before you date a boy, I have to meet him first and like him.
Mhm.
Mm.
Well, what about dad?
Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about Maeve's relationships with her parents yet. That will go into spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers, mother.
This next thing I want to bring up, I don't think it's really much of a spoiler, but it's like let's just say I just found a way to have the final issue of the first volume lead gorgeously into our first crossover event.
Yeah, our first crossover event. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the image real quick.
Yeah, the way I saw it going was that we close out the first volumes of our books and then go with the first crossover.
Mhm.
Yeah, we want each of the characters to, stand on their own. I want their stories to develop organically, and then they meet up. And I'm setting up things that will pay off in the crossover event as early as issue 1. So hopefully, when people go back to reread and or revisit the stories, they will be paid off nicely for doing so. Let's see if I can find this image.
Not so much with not going to be as much foreshadowing with change and concern. It's more episodic, and it's more of a problem of the issue. It has more of a problem of the week's format. So there's a continuity, but it's not as narrative heavy as Mythics or Adobe Kroger are. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, this was a meme that I used during the campaign. I absolutely love this Will Smith meme. It's so flexible. But but yeah, he's basically showing the crossover event right there. So there we have Mel, Maeve, Althea, Adobe, and another friend in the background that will be named later.
Also, that dragon is a lady.
That dragon's a lady dragon, yeah. But that's all I'm gonna say. Too many spoilers if I say anything else.
Once again, you guys just assuming genders, and
And Salem is uncomfortable.
How are we assuming
Yes.
gender when we made her?
that I mean, does this stuff have to make sense? Have you seen people's justifications for this stuff?
No, it doesn't need to make sense. It's all about winning in the moment. That's all it is.
Yeah. So I win this moment, and if you don't think I did, then you're just a Nazi.
Of course, and you're going to call my
So-
employer and get me fired, and I'll never eat again, and my family will be out on the street.
Well, more like, and then
But you know what?
he'll
At
get
least my
a weapon
feelings won't be
somewhere
hurt.
and go and find
Precisely.
you and put you out of your misery.
You know one thing about that, one problem about that? You'll be putting women out on the street.
But what if I
And
identify
they don't
as a
give a
woman?
crap.
Yeah, you see what kind of pretzels you got to bend your brain into to even hold conversations like this?
Yes.
Oh,
This is why you don't do identity politics of any kind.
yeah,
It will screw
No,
you
I
over.
don't know why comedians don't attack this stuff even more. It's great material.
It is great
it
material,
is.
but every time they try, they always get screwed. Like,
Yeah.
what is it, Don Natello? I mean, what's his other face? I mean, even Joe Rogan, man, when he tries to do that, now they just have just given up. They're like, LCT's all right now, according to the New York Slime.
Yeah, and Owen Benjamin is like excommunicado, John Wick style, as far as I know.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He did get a little right, but you know what? If you're leaving Hollywood, he probably saw things that were so bad. I wouldn't be surprised if that would drive you crazy, legitimately.
If half the things I've heard are true, it's 5 times worse than I imagined.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like Adobe Kroger, where she's trying to free people from a hedonistic cult. I wouldn't be
Exactly.
surprised if someone in that was connected to Hollywood of any kind.
Yeah.
Makes Harvey Weinstein look like a cupcake.
Yeah. Yeah, let's just assume that. Yeah.
Who'd you say?
Harvey Weinstein makes him look like a cupcake.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty bad, man. Well, I mean, I guess in a way that is true, because it's kind of like it's kind of, you prostitute with the couch, you prostituted yourself.
Eventually, you just have to say, like, is it worth selling your soul for a couple years of fame that are fleeting anyway? Yeah.
And your youth is gone. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's always so funny when you see it. All these old biddies, all of a sudden they're like, wait, there has to be substance. When they just enjoyed the entire time while they were young and being objectified, and then once that's gone, they're like, oh, please.
To work in Hollywood, you practically have to be a sellout anyway.
Yeah. That's why I was saying, like, after I tried to pitch Adobe Kroger, I realized, you know what? I'm either going to publish this myself or I just won't bother with it because I don't want to live in that world. I don't want to be beholden to anybody. It's going to be done my way or not at all.
Right. And I wouldn't be surprised if a lot more entertainment is going to have to do it that way.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We're doing our best to move it in that direction with the Mythoverse, and I think we got a good product. I think we got great people working with us, and I think our community is off to a good start. So
I do have a question about like Comicsgate versus Teen Comics. Maybe you guys know this, but I came in more as a Comicsgate side, and I know Teen Comics kind of they want to be slightly separated, or they just feel like okay, it doesn't fit correctly.
the problem with movements and groups like that, they need to be leaderless or they'll fall apart. Like it needs to be like an organic thing, and it's really difficult to associate, for me anyway, with movements and groups like this because I cannot be held accountable for someone else's actions. Like my moral standing cannot be beholden to some random person who happens to identify with that movement too. It's just too much to keep track of. So it's like, you know what? I support the creators one at a time, whether they're part of a movement or not. If I like the book and I like the creator, and I've done that. I mean, between us, I've backed like 44 projects on Indiegogo alone, and they were all over the place, like, literally all over the place. And there were even like I've had I think like 10 or 12 on Kickstarter, and they've been all across the spectrum. If I like the art and I've had good interactions with them on social media, then they're just people trying to make a living. You know, they may disagree with me, but I understand that drive to create, so I will definitely take people one at a time and judge them worthy of my support or not.
You mean you're going to act like a rational
human being?
What was that?
Yeah, I said you mean you're going to act like a rational human being?
Well, that's how I would prefer to be treated. So, I mean, the way I see it is, when you first meet someone, treat them how you would like to be treated, and thereafter, treat them how they treat you. So if you're nice to me, then I'll go on being nice to you because I want you to go on being nice to me. But if you're not, then what's the point? Life's too short. I got lots of other good people in my life. I don't need to waste the time.
Very true.
And that's why I've stuck with these guys here. I think we've had a great year together, just bouncing ideas off each other and led us to this point. And now we can bring everyone some really cool books. So.
Hey, Philip hashed about that.
Yeah, but she's doing hard for on Twitter too, so I told her.
My husband's being ridiculous. He's like, Claire, in order to make money, you gotta do like some lewd. I'm like, really?
Well, the only one who's off limits is Maeve, so I don't mind.
Yeah.
Now.
I mean, you know, if you don't want us to call Chris Hansen on you.
Hey, have a seat. Sit down.
Why don't you have a seat? Let's have a seat.
Guys, we're being pedophobes right now, and that's just not okay.
Yeah, do you have a problem with minor attracted persons now? What are you?
No, as long as they're in therapy and chemically castrated, they're fine.
I mean, I don't know. The people that are trying to normalize that must not have children. What?
Blessed Tumblr, why do you have to ruin everything?
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's just my husband's being silly, but it's not like I wouldn't draw. Well, I I just know what happens. Like, my mom knows how to use the internet. I'm just like, no.
You don't want to take the risk. You don't want to take the risk.
Yeah, and it's got to be like the right kind of. I have to like, because I don't want to go all the way to the other stuff.
Yeah. Besides, I'll just also, Matt, you do know that you do know everyone knows what makes me look like when she's grown up, so that's still fair game.
Yeah.
Okay, grown up is fine. Yes.
14-year-old
It's
Maeve.
some-
No.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Well, hopefully, Mr. Marvel's still on Twitter, right? Even after
Yes
that
and
whole
no.
kerfuffle.
Yeah, he's
Yes,
going to be
and-
dialing it back, though, and focusing on his work, from what I understand.
Well, you want to balance it between being kind of a craft poster and being, being silly and then being serious. My thing is more about making sure that I have art on my Twitter, mostly art. Or if I do political stuff, I tend to do like more free speech. So that's like kind of, because that one I think is more relevant right now, and it's relevant for both sides, I think.
Yeah, Comicsgate, Gorgonite Emissary says, Comicsgate has gone the way of Gamergate, meaning it went to shit fast and I'm out. Yeah, I was never even in it, so I was never even in it.
Gamergate just kind of fizzled out. Like, it just lost steam and everyone stopped caring.
Now that you say that, but I don't know. I can't. We could. I mean, people are still doing it. They're still making their art and stuff.
I saw a lot of the big person kind of move on to other things.
They say that, but it's kind of like, I like to say Comicsgate is like Hotel California. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave.
Well, that depends, I
Because
guess.
that's where the money is. I mean, if we really wanted to get down to it, that's where money is. You can try and be like, oh,
It's where it is now.
where it is now, right? We don't know if that'll like be exhausted. It's like markets. Markets change all the time. It's fluid.
Yeah, I mean, from where I see it, like, because we never really were part of the movement, we weren't going to fund the Mythoverse in 20 minutes flat on an EVS stream, but we did eventually make goal. We had to work our asses off to get it, but I think ultimately it's much more satisfying to have done it ourselves, even if it nearly killed us.
I bet. I don't know, like, because I'm trying to figure out if I should start doing more exposure of what I actually do, like, of the characters first. And another, I think it's called Ellen Walker art.
Is there a quieter place in your house you can move to? I'm hearing a lot of background noise.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Because my husband doesn't have noises on. Oh well. But that means I can't look at the screen, the chat, so I'm blind. I'm chat blind.
That's all right. I'll read off the chat anyway.
I've got the chat open too as well.
Oh, good.
So yeah, in terms of what to post on your Twitter, yeah, definitely post art and blurbs about the characters that are intriguing, like little things about them. Like Mr. Marvel was a master at drawing interest to his characters because he would write these fascinating blurbs, and he had this way of just making everything sound much more interesting. And we did that towards the middle of our campaign. I began teasing out the cast and a little bit of their background, and the more you do that, the more people get drawn in, and the more likely they are to give you fan art, and the more that you show off, the more people get involved in your community.
That's true. It definitely helps, like, or the contest is really good because then
Oh
people
yeah,
are
that
invested.
was excellent.
Yeah, the contest worked very well. They did wonders for the engagement.
Well, I think a lot of the appeal of the art contest, especially with Maeve, was the idea that you could actually influence the canon look of a character.
Yep. And in Adobe's case, it was you got to be a canon character that was not just a walk-on role, but someone that would actually move the plot along. And yep. So
and then also,
go ahead.
I loved her face, like her about to cry. It was great.
I had to pick that one. It was perfect.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just because, like I said before, it's like I think we all kind of agreed last week, because that kind of shows a side of Adobe that she doesn't like to show to other people, which is being vulnerable.
Right, and the reason she does that is because she was made to feel vulnerable her entire adolescence and childhood. So as an adult, she would never want to be put in a position where she was vulnerable again, because it's just the place she dares not look.
Whereas, like I said, like in Maeve's case, like I think just because she had part of it because like he may or may not be autistic, and I think also just because she is very empathetic. She doesn't hide her feelings. She just wears them on her sleeve.
Right.
Like she is. Like, let me put it this way: if it's kind of like she and Adobe are like on opposite ends of a spectrum. Like where Adobe just puts up walls and wants to keep secrets. Like Maeve doesn't hide it. Like what you see with her is
vulnerable.
What you
Very transparent.
Yeah, but it's more like with what you see with Maeve is what you get.
And it's no coincidence that the majority of Adobe's powers revolve around barriers. Yeah.
And it's also and I also think it's no coincidence that Maeve's powers are also kind of fueled by her emotions. Like the more she the more she feels, the stronger they are, but the less control she also has over them.
Oh, awesome. So, all right. Well, we're coming up on about 10 to 11 my time, so we've been at this about 2 hours.
That sounds good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this is probably a good time to wrap it up. So I wanted to thank everyone for watching. Thank you, Gorgonite, Emissary, Scott, Aaron, everyone that was in the chat, and thank you guys for hopping in the voice and chatting with us. Had a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do this again next week.
Cool.
All right, sounds good, man.
Awesome.
All right,
You
yeah,
guys
guys,
are
have a
always
great
welcome. I love talking with you, and I'm going to sign off with the Mythoverse theme. Again, thank you once again, everyone, for watching, and we shall see you next week.
All right.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Bye.